Welcome to Honest Weekly. In today's show, we begin by learning the history behind the St. Patrick's Day celebrations across the United States. We also figure out what did happen between Don Lemon and Elon Musk. We talk about the TikTok bill and review our memorable moments from the Oscars. And then Cabrini. I did watch the movie, and here's my review. And in Honest Weekly, we quickly talk about the events of the upcoming week. Let's go. Hello, everybody. My name is Olga. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy St. Patrick's Day or St. Patrick's Day weekend for those who are celebrating. And this is actually how I want to start our live stream today, by also sharing the history behind St. Patrick's Day celebrations across the United States, especially here in New York. While I'm sitting here, we have a huge parade going on outdoors on Fifth Avenue. So I wanted to share the historical facts that I found a bit mesmerizing. So let's learn more about St. Patrick's Day first. St. Patrick's Day, observed on March 17th, has deep roots in Irish culture and has been celebrated in the United States since the early 18th century. Irish immigrants brought the tradition with them, finding solace and solidarity in honoring their patron saint. In cities like New York City, St. Patrick's Day has been celebrated since the city's early days. The first recorded parade in NYC took place in 1762, organized by Irish soldiers. Today, NYC hosts one of the world's largest St. Patrick's Day parades along Fifth Avenue. Prominent Irish Americans have played a significant role in shaping this holiday celebration in the USA. Figures like Archbishop John Hughes, known as Dagger John, who led the construction of St. Patrick's Cathedral in NYC, and Tammany Hall leader Richard Croker, who influenced political and social life in the city, have left lasting legacies tied to St. Patrick's Day. Additionally, notable Irish Americans, such as former President John F. Kennedy, whose Irish heritage was a source of pride and inspiration for many, and acclaimed author Frank McCourt, whose memoir Angela's Ashes depicted the Irish immigrant experience, have contributed to the cultural richness associated with St. Patrick's Day in the USA. The holiday has evolved into celebration of Irish heritage, featuring parades, music, dance, and traditional cuisine. It symbolizes unity, diversity, and the enduring influence of Irish culture on American society. St. Patrick's Day in the USA is a joyful expression of community spirit and cultural pride, enriched by the contributions of prominent Irish Americans throughout history. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone who's celebrating, and I hope you found it useful, because I certainly did. I am from Europe, but not that side of Europe. So for me, it was really interesting to learn. And continuing to learn, we will dive into a couple of topics that were a bit controversial, but really ruled this week. And I want to first and foremost to set my intention. My intention here is to not to provoke drama or feed the drama, but actually to present some facts, written material, video material, and to allow you to build your own opinion. So the first topic I would love to discuss is what did actually happen between Don Lemon, the former CNN journalist and anchor and host with tremendous experience, mainly producing content on Democratic or liberal media, and Elon Musk. I don't think he needs any introduction, but Elon Musk on X, right, on Twitter, now X, famously announced that it is to become this open square where people will be sharing their opinions, and he is the free speech absolutist, so whatever that means. His main intention was to, as he said, to include all kinds of media personalities to allow them to speak freely without the direction and the restrictions imposed by any channel. So be CNN, Fox News, and whatnot. He did welcome Tucker Carlson very warmly after he was kicked out of Fox and embraced his own show. But the idea here is to talk about Don Lemon because I really find this story fascinating and controversial. But I really want to present the entire chronology to you so you can build your opinion. Okay, so first things first, Don Lemon departed CNN and took a break. So we haven't heard from him. He was on social media here and there because I follow him. I see some, some social content, but it was nothing that was related to politics or news in general. And then we saw this post, and I will be showing some tweets and pictures, just again with the intention to allow you to build your own opinion. So first thing what we saw, Elon on Twitter, now X, wrote to Don Lemon. He said, have you considered doing a show on this platform? Maybe worth a try. Audience is much bigger. And yes, the audience is much bigger. However they achieve it, however the algorithm flows, we don't know, right? I don't want to say somebody puts in target numbers and then they suddenly appear, but it does build the audience and the views tremendously fast, way faster than YouTube, way faster than TikTok, Instagram, or any other platform. So we do see that Tucker Carlson generates hundreds of millions of views. And so, of course, for Don Lemon, I guess that was the main intention. And by the way, we're going to hear from him because he was on The View this week where he shared answers to all those questions. So time goes by, and then Don Lemon puts that on his X account. This is January 9th of this year. I've heard you, and today I'm back, bigger, bolder, freer. My new media company's first project is The Don Lemon Show. It will be available to everyone easily, whenever and wherever you want it, streaming on the platforms where the conversations are happening, and you'll find it first on X, the biggest space for free speech in the world, as advertised. I know now more than ever that we need a place for honest debate and discussion without the hall monitors, and this is just the beginning, so stay tuned. And so everybody stay tuned. The time goes by, and now come March, Don Lemon announces that his very first interview or very first episode will premiere, I think, March 18th, and his guest is Elon Musk. And everyone on the liberal side starts questioning the motives. Why do you give him your platform? Why do you want to interview him? Don's response is, I want to hear from him. I just want to ask questions. And as a journalist, he decided to ask questions that do matter, right? The questions and the topics that are often discussed in the media, which I don't think has anything wrong with it, right? If you're a journalist and you are asking questions. Now, did they have restrictions for this interview? Here's what Don Lemon says after they did record the 90-minute interview and Elon emailed him that the contract is canceled. So now let's read what Don put on his Instagram. He said, Elon Musk has canceled the partnership I had with X, which they announced as part of their public commitment to amplifying more diverse voices on their platform. He informed me of his decision hours after an interview I conducted with him on Friday. That interview will remain the premiere episode of the Don Lemon Show on Monday, March 18th. He said, Elon publicly encouraged me to join X with the new show, saying I would have his full support and that his digital town square is for all. Okay. Then he goes on to say there were no restrictions on the interview that he willingly agreed to. And my questions were respectful and wide ranging, covering everything from SpaceX to the presidential election. We had a good conversation. Clearly, he felt differently. His commitment to a global town square where all questions can be asked and all ideas can be shared seems not to include questions of him from people like me. And here's my question. Everybody knows who Don Lemon is, right? As much as we know who any television personality is. So if you do agree to an unrestricted interview and you're not specifying that you have to be agreeing to all the questions asked, which is actually a normal rule for media, then you are here for a ride. Right? Now, let's see what kind of questions were there, because Don Lemon put this as an advertisement for his upcoming episode on his social media.
So let's get into it. Are you under the influence of anything? You said you learned your lesson. What did you learn? So you don't consider that hate speech. What is the evidence? Do you know what the term woke actually means? Do you have any responsibility to the truth?
Which, I mean, we kind of have to understand where Don Lemon is coming from. He is talking actually about the topics that are publicly discussed in the media. They're discussed in New York Times and they're discussed on social media. So you go from MSM to any kind of creator who asks those questions. Of course, Elon has his fan base and they would never dare to ask those questions, or they always rebuke it. Whether it's real people, bots, who cares? But the point is, if you do, and this is New York for you, sorry, we're headed in springtime, okay? Motorbikes, everything. So if you do open this space for everybody and you advertise it as somebody who really wants to embrace everybody's opinions, then you have to also open your mind to different opinions, right? And most importantly, as somebody who owns the platform and runs it, your algorithm, right? So, of course, the questions as to who controls the algorithm. Do you feel responsible for presenting the truth and presenting all kinds of opinions? Those questions are relevant. When it comes to drug use or whatnot, yes, it has been discussed. So, yes, he has a point to ask the question. Now, if you agree to an interview and you say, I really don't care what you're going to ask me, but then every single reply is, I don't want to talk about it, then of course you're not liking the interview, but why are you here? Then my point is, agree prior to showing up, or choose those who will be asking you the questions you want, which has been always the case. Okay? So now, of course, Don Lemon goes on social media, says the contract is canceled, and we still have questions. So what was in that contract? Was Elon controlling the narrative? Was Elon paying for production? Or was it just the distribution deal? And here we have to draw a bit of distinction. So if you are not really familiar with media, so for instance, somebody fills a program, a movie or whatever, there's production cost, right? If I pay for production and in my contract it says that I'm the executive producer, it means I can say or I can direct what will be featured in the show. So I do control the narrative. If it is a distribution deal, same as with any product, right? People are selling any type of product in any type of store. They have distribution deals. Sometimes it is exclusive, meaning it will be just in this store, right? Sometimes it is temporarily exclusive, meaning for the first whatever in media, for the first day or so, it is exclusive to this platform and then it can be shared elsewhere. And I think that's what did happen. Now, before we go into rattle-daddle between Lemon and Elon, let's actually dive into an interview that Don Lemon gave recently on The View, where he explains first and foremost why he joined the platform. So let's review those tidbits and discuss them.
First of all, he's not my boss.
Right.
I didn't work for X. They had no editorial control over my show. They were a distribution partner. It was not an X show. Everyone thought it was an X show.
Right.
They only had exclusive content, just a couple of, episodes, 3 episodes a week, but like 10 minutes on top of that for 10 times a month. They had exclusive content that was, to be exclusive to them for 24 hours, and it was going to go everywhere. My show was always going to go everywhere.
That sounds like a good contract.
Yes, it is.
You're still going to put it on X.
Of course I'm going to put it on X, and I would dare.
So, few things here. They just had the distribution deal. So X had the temporarily exclusive right to have or feature this content, right? Don said it was for 24 hours and some 10 minutes, just exclusive content for X. So it was a distribution deal, meaning they did not control the narrative, or they did have any right to say what needs to be published or not. I think we are a bit in a gray zone because Elon became the content in the first episode. But then again, whose fault is that, right? So if you're not sure about this content creator, maybe you should be just watching a couple of episodes and seeing what it does and then agreeing to an interview. But you became the content of the first episode and you didn't like being whatever the questions you were asked. But now you didn't like being the content, and now you suddenly don't like the content itself. And I think this is a very clear distinction here, which is, again, we have not seen the contract. My legal background tells me, well, we have to say as what it is. We're hearing Don speak, we read what Elon says, and we will be seeing and watching the interview. So we don't see the contracts, we don't see the emails, we don't see any exchange. Now let's hear more from Don.
Right.
I took them at their word. They courted me for months.
Yeah.
And when their new CEO came aboard, she courted me. Their management team courted me. They sweetened the deals with incentives. And I said that was the biggest and best place for me to launch a show. And because you know what's happening with television now and what have you, it's shrinking.
Yeah.
But I thought, why seed Twitter or X is one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, one of the biggest information platforms in the world. Why cede that platform to extremists?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get on there and I wanted to fight it out so everyone could have a.
So pretty much Don saw that the content is particular on X and he wanted to bring diversity of opinion. Let's put it this way, right? So he mentioned X did court him, right? Meaning they did try to convince him, they threw incentives and money and bonuses and whatnot to have that temporarily exclusivity, right? Or temporary, whatever. English is not my first language, okay? So they had this right to just feature the content for 24 hours on X and then for that to be go elsewhere. So they had the distribution deal and they really tried to convince him to do so. Now let's hear more from Don.
He knows who Don Lemon is. He knew who I was. He asked me to come on the platform. He offered incentives and money. They agreed to a deal. They flew me out to Las Vegas to announce this at CES. They trotted me out in front of clients, in front of advertisers. I went to the Twitter offices to do client meetings and to try to entice advertisers back to the platform. So I was a good soldier. I was doing.
So he was doing, and that's the key. So whatever the contract was, and I hear there's a deal with Don not having signed the contract before the interview. And so now Elon says it's canceled. But if he did fly to Vegas to CES, if he did start promoting the company or the content itself and the platform, enticing advertisers, and advertisers did sign the contracts because of Don Lemon, then he did enter the contract by doing what's supposed to be done in the contract. Again, we have not seen the contract. But I think what we do need to understand here are actually two things. First is, one thing is Don Lemon's show. And one thing is agreeing with what he says, agreeing with his views, and loving his content. Okay, that's one. Number two is Elon became the content, right? So now as a guest, he didn't like the questions, right? So what could have been done is, if you're still, right, even if you felt emotionally, I don't know, attacked, whatnot, and you said, I really hate this episode, I don't want this episode to go out, but interview somebody else, right? If I'm still saying that this is a free speech for all and whatnot, I just didn't like being the guest on your show, but the contract remains, it's just I'm out of this. That's one story, okay? And then, of course, we have to here really draw a line between emotions and facts. And sometimes it's very, very difficult. Again, if you do become the content of the show and you feel emotionally attacked, and then you start striking through the contract where you are now violating the terms you have set for this deal. So again, we have not seen the deal. Perhaps we will be seeing the contracts, or perhaps they go to court if there is a reason, again, to go for it. But I think it's not the end. I think we'll hear more about it. And to what Don says, right here, we need to also draw a distinction here where Don says, of course, it will be still on X, meaning he will be uploading the episode on X, same as I upload this episode on X. Okay. And yes, this episode in particular has a certain description because we're talking about Elon, we talk about Don Lemon, we talk about X, and it's not live streamed, but yes, I'm uploading it. The other story was that what Don Lemon lost is the security for, I understand, as far as I understand, again, having not seen the contract, but understanding what I'm hearing and reading, is that he is losing the exact number or the guaranteed number of views and guaranteed number of pay. Okay, so now let's review what Elon had to say, because we have to include his opinion as well. So Elon says Lemon, and now he calls Don Lemon by emoji, typical, is welcome to monetize on this platform just like everyone else. Meaning, again, no guarantees. Upload your content, whatever it reaches, it does. But then again, mind you, Elon does control the algorithm. An algorithm, in simple terms, is just like, you open tap water, right? You do control how much water flows, how right, how hot, cold it is, and whatnot. That's the same story. If you do own the platform, you do control the algorithm, you do control how many views it will generate. So just keep that in mind. Elon says what we aren't going to do is guarantee minimum payments to him as he was demanding, which would be going beyond everyone else. Now, of course, he was demanding it because you demanded it to be exclusive on X for a certain period of time. The incentive for that was the minimum or guaranteed payment. Logical. Now, Don Lemon says, you weren't nearly so skeptical when you and your CEO, meaning Linda Yaccarino, were asking me to exclusively partner with you. What changed? Well, what changed? He was on the show and he didn't like the questions he was asked. So obvious. And it continues. Elon goes into Elon mode and says, even though I think Don, again, emoji lemon, is a pompous fool who spouts nonsense, he is still free to upload his show on X and will receive advertising revenue. Now, we do know who is the most followed person on X, and this is Elon. There is no other platform like Meta, Facebook, where Mark Zuckerberg would be. And I'm not saying he's saint. No. What I'm saying is there's no other platform where the owner is the most followed person, right? Again, algorithm. If you control it, you decide. Okay, so now here, yeah, you're still open to upload your stuff. I'm just not going to guarantee that it will be seen by people, and I can do whatever I want with that. And now, also calling somebody a fool, calling the information nonsense. So at some point, you're courting the person, you're offering a contract, you're agreeing to go and give an interview on this show, and now you're calling this nonsense. So where are you at? All right, so now Don says, I welcome the opportunity to share the Don Lemon Show on X, and I challenge you, Elon Musk, to actually watch it and then tell me it isn't exactly what you said you want on your platform. Tune in March 18th. So Don Lemon is on YouTube, is on X. Those, I think, are two platforms he's premiering the content on. I guess also podcast form, so whatever floats your boat. Let's watch it, March 18th, and next week we'll review it as well. Okay? So let me know what you think about it. Let me know if this helped you to kind of understand what did happen. I kind of like presenting some facts and letting you decide. Now, another controversial topic. This week was giving, okay? TikTok. TikTok was a big deal. And again, let's review what did happen. So I called it TikTok battle. They call it TikTok ban. The bill is not the ban, all right? So first, what did happen? There was a bill. And we're going to talk about the bill in detail so you understand what it means. The bill received bipartisan effort in the House and was approved by 352 representatives. Okay? The bill aims to incentivize divestment in TikTok or off TikTok. Right? So if approved by the Senate, right, because that's how it works, it goes to the Senate. Now, if approved, then it goes to the president to be signed. The president said he would be signing. But again, it's all about the Senate at this point. If approved, ByteDance would be in need to sell the company or be excluded from mobile app stores in the US, meaning I can only use the platform in the US or an app if I have access to downloading it. Right? And if it is excluded from the App Store, whether it's Apple or Google Play, then I can no longer use it. Now, as far as we went through this, we don't hear the word ban in it. The bill is not called TikTok ban, and it also features no word of banning, right? What the bill says, and let's review this here. The bill titled Protecting American from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. So specifically, it addresses worries about U.S. data control by a foreign adversary. And those are defined in the bill as countries listed under paragraph 4872 G2 of Title 10 of the United States Code. These countries are People's Republic of China, where TikTok falls into, the Russian Federation, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. So it talks specifically about these countries because those are adversaries, right? And we are protecting our data. That is the idea of this bill. Now, you can decide if that's true, not, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just presenting the facts to you. Now, what did happen later, TikTok boss went on TikTok naturally and presented his version of the truth. And I want to present it to you here. So let's hear from the TikTok CEO.
Hi everyone, it's Show here. Just wanted to share some thoughts with our US users about the disappointing vote in the House of Representatives. There has been a lot of misinformation, and I hope to clarify some things. First, thank you to our incredible community. You are what makes TikTok so special. Thank you for making your voices heard. Over the last few years, we have invested to keep your data safe and our platform free from outside manipulation. We have committed that we will continue to do so. This legislation, if signed into law, will lead to a ban of TikTok in the United States. Even the bill sponsors admit that that's their goal. This bill gives more power to a handful of other social media companies. It will also take billions of dollars out of the pockets of creators and small businesses. It will put more than 300,000 American jobs at risk, and it will take away your TikTok. We know how important TikTok is to all of you. It has given our 170 million users a
yada, yada, yada. So the point is, he says it's a ban. It has been publicly admitted it's a ban. That's the main goal. And then it will prohibit TikTok. This is not true, as we just read. If the bill passes in the Senate and is signed by the president, the Chinese, right, the Communist Party of China would need to sell the app or that part of the app that operates in the United States to an American owner. Now, China announced this week that it would be banning the sale. And you would then, rightfully so, wonder, why would they ban it, right? Because we don't have any Meta, any Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, whatever, Instagram operating in China. So it is banned there. And this we can call a ban. You cannot run an American-owned social media platform in China and call it a day and monetize it and hoopla ha. Now, if it goes vice versa, now it's a big thing. I understand that 170 million, according to TikTok CEO, are using TikTok in the United States. I understand that they're monetized and they're making money. I do have an account that is dedicated to basketball called Onest NBA, and it went viral by accident on TikTok. And it has 4.5 million views a week, and it is monetized, and it does make money. Now, would I agree to this restriction? Yes, I would. Because, if you as a creator or person in media are not ready to shift gears, you're not ready to use perhaps another platform because this is detrimental to the main idea or security of your entire country, then who is egoistic here? So this is just my opinion. Let me know what you think, right? Then I want to present to you now another side of the coin. So the question about TikTok ban was asked at the White House, and that's what was said here.
Where does the White House think what's going to happen to TikTok? Because even if the bill makes it to the president's desk, the Chinese government needs to approve it, which they're likely not to. It could also face significant legal pushback.
We welcome that bill. This isn't a divestment bill. It's not a ban. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals here. It's going through the process. We're going to offer technical support as it moves, obviously, from the House into the Senate. But we welcome this bill, and this is about our national security. That's what this is about. You heard the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, speak to this on Tuesday. It is important for us to have an understanding, right, where this American data is going. Do they live here or do they live in China, for example? He said that, right? Is their ownership here or is it in China, for example? And so those are really important.
As much as it is important for China that the apps that are owned and where data is stored in the United States, that these are not operating in China, which is a fact. It's not the conspiracy theory, it's a fact. And you can Google it and you can read about it. And again, let's not label things with the intention to dumb it down. because we really are missing out on the facts that would encourage us and help us to build our own opinion. And I think this is the truly historical moment where we have access to social media, we do have access to mainstream media, we do have access to newspapers and whatnot. So you have access to information. And I think it is our responsibility to consume that information. And yes, consume information from all kinds of sites to help you build your own opinion. So my intention here is not to present one side. I'm sharing my opinion, but you're entitled to yours. So please share your opinion in the comments and we can discuss it. Now, again, this is not a ban. It would, if anything, force TikTok to sell. China already announced they will not be willing to sell. Now, why is another question, which is rightfully so asked. And it proceeds from there. Also, Chinese government or the owners of TikTok may also sue the government here. So I think it's not a very, not a situation that will have a fast turnaround. It can never be. Probably will take years. If you're on TikTok and you're monetizing and you're selling stuff and you're running a small business, embrace it. But what I can recommend you to do, being somebody who was just hacked on Instagram and banned for a week, diversify your content, right? Because anything can happen to anyone. So diversify your content. You can, if you're selling products on TikTok, you can also embrace Amazon store idea and whatnot. I'm just giving you ideas to be in a better place if anything happens, because do we here have control over what will happen? Not much. So in that sense, just be safe, okay? Now, if you are into fighting for TikTok and calling your representatives, do so. This is your right. That's why we live in the United States. That's why we have the freedom of speech, freedom of choice and opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. But what I encourage you to do is to consume facts, so your opinion is clever. Okay? So, having said that, let's go into a bit brighter topic. So, the Oscars happened. Right? And the Oscars, I watched them for really the speeches, the messages. It does allow me as a person who's really into media to read sort of the atmosphere in the country, where we at, what does matter, what is the also narrative, because any producer of any show, and so be Oscars, has a narrative. So what is the narrative there? I want to share some moments that I found pretty remarkable. Those will not be the dresses and the fashion. Trust me, I love the fashion. I love the dresses. I'm not into discussing celebrities or their relationships and whatnot. Really not my thing. So again, no drama on my end. But I want to share some different moments that sort of were important to share here. So let me find it. I don't have a picture for some reason. Okay, so one thing was, what I noticed, and maybe you did too, is that it had the production of Oscars include the movie Barbie in so many ways, right? First of all, Ken was performing, right? It's the Kenergy. Ryan Gosling had his I'm Just Ken performance, which really resembled Marilyn Monroe, and that was the picture I wanted to show you, which has like him compared to other. So it might be coincidence or inspiration of some sort, but it did include Barbie in that way. It did include Barbie in a lot of speeches, but Barbie was not nominated. So the only actor, in fact, who was nominated is Ryan Gosling. So the message of Barbie was really in support of women, right? It was really women-driven movie, and then the only guy was nominated. So a thing. Okay, so let me know what you think about it. But on the other hand, I really, what did really sort of touched me the most, I would say, is that the Ukrainian documentary 20 Days in Mariupol won the Oscar for the documentary. And I think the acceptance speech was the most touching moment of the Oscars, at least for me. Again, I was born in Ukraine, so for me it matters. But I want to share the speech with you. I will not play the entire speech, but just some moments.
Michelle, Rainey, Daryl, thank you for making this film with me. Thank you for helping me in this journey. This is the first This is the first Oscar in the Ukrainian history. And I'm honored. But probably I will be the first director on this stage who will say, I wish I would never made this film. I wish to be able to exchange this to Russia never attacking Ukraine, never occupying our cities. I wish to give all the recognition to Russia not killing tens of thousands of my fellow Ukrainians. I wish for them to release all the hostages, all the soldiers who are protecting their lands, all the civilians who are now in their jails. But I cannot change the history. I cannot change.
It speaks for itself. As he mentioned, Sviatoslav, the director, I wish I had never made that movie. And he said probably he is the first Oscar winner to say so. And what we need to understand is that this movie, this documentary, was filmed in occupied area, right? Occupied by Russian forces, where people were tortured and killed and really just demonized in a way where we can't not even imagine it living in the Western hemisphere, because we have not seen it really vividly close to us. But what I want you to understand, that this documentary was not made by those, 3, 4, 5 people standing there. There were photographers, there were videographers who did film this movie, right? Or were part of it, and who did not survive. So it's really tremendous. If you have the opportunity and you have the guts to, please watch it. Please watch it to see what indeed is happening. Because when we open Twitter, X, whatever, any website, and we see and people are fighting, and I put something and people, bots or real people tell me how bad Ukraine is and all of this. But when you see this visually, right, you see the videos, you see the pictures, and sometimes you have to force yourself. And please don't do it at night before you go to bed. Trust me, based on my experience, doesn't serve you a good sleep after. But really watch it and understand it. Because then the messages of the support and aid to Ukraine, first of all, play a bigger role and bigger significance to you as well as a human, right? We will be diving more into supporting Ukraine and really diving into where the money goes and whether it's stolen, what does happen. I really want to prepare for it and present you with some facts, same as what we did here. If you like this approach, again, let me know. But what we need to, for now, know is that it is real. It is a real war. It's not a game. It is painful for anybody who is blessed, like me and my family, to be away, not to be there. Your day starts with opening social media, and God forbid, with opening your WhatsApp or other messages with the messages from loved ones or no messages from loved ones. And it's been going for years, and it's spreading, and it's not the end. But again, more to that we'll share in another episode here, perhaps next week. So on another note, on Oscars, to shift the mood. One thing was really funny. I'm not sure if the platform will ban me for showing it, but I'm just going to show it. So John Cena announced the Oscar for the best costume designer in a very weird way, but very impactful way. So watch it.
Costumes. They are so important. Maybe the most important thing there is.
And it's a visualization that it is actually maybe the most important thing because the guy's naked. Now, I've seen pictures, he had underwear. So, okay, let's be kosher here. But I think it's impactful. I think it's, I mean, I've heard some conspiracy theories and all that stuff, but I'm not diving into that. I think it's really impactful here because it really showcases the importance of that, right? You have no costume, you're naked. I found it really cool. So let's now quickly go to Onest quickly, no pun intended, actually pun intended, to discuss some things that are coming up this week. Oh, by the way, no, we're not there yet. I went and watched Cabrini movie. Okay, so last week I shared with you that I will be going to this Cabrini movie. Why I'm talking about it so much? I loved it. This was one of the most impactful movies that you can see, honestly. It's 2 hours, 20 some minutes. It is about the nun that travels from Italy and comes to the United States. And I want to share old story, but she's very sick. She's very determined to open schools and hospitals for orphans and to protect specifically Italian immigrants that were living worse than the rats in New York City specifically. For me, as somebody who admires New York and loves it, and I live here for a very long time, it was really impactful. So bring some tissues. If you have a chance, please watch it. It's for a limited time. But I also want to share with you partially the trailer for the movie. Again, I'm not going to play the entire thing because it's going to be banned here for copyright issues. But I want just to share the first minute of the trailer and really encourage you to go watch it. If you are into supporting women, if you are a woman and you are fighting against everything and anything in your career, in your life, this will really bring you that comfort and that courage to keep on going. But also, if you are anyone, just watch it. It's real story. First of all, it ends really, really well. And you will start understanding how amazing this woman is. And she also became a saint upon her passing. So, let's watch the trailer for a little bit here.
I was told that you were rejected by 3 different orders, each time for weakness of constitution.
Your Holiness, we can serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose, not both. My sisters, if we are to build an empire of hope, it seems we must first conquer New York.
Filthy Dagos. They just keep coming.
Mio papà si è suicidato e mia mamma è morta di tifo.
In America, the greatest nation on earth, rats have it better than the children of 5 points.
It's not safe. Not.
Very impactful, really. First, I thought, oh my God, All right, I'm back. Thank you so much for waiting. We'll cut it out for recording. So, one thing is I want to talk about is Onest quickly about what's happening. So, if you are in New York or you're traveling to New York Botanical Gardens have a fabulous fashion-focused orchid show. So this spring, New York Botanical Garden in the Bronx is giving the divas of the plant world their moment in the spotlight as part of the orchid show Florals in Fashion, which is available until April 21st. Quickly, next one, the Met's history-making Harlem Renaissance exhibition is still available. It's a groundbreaking exhibit currently on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It celebrates Black artists and intellectuals in its newest exhibit, the Harlem Renaissance and Transatlantic Modernism. And third thing, which you can watch even if you're not in New York or in the United States, today is NAACP Image Awards ceremony, which is live, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on BET and CBS. You can watch and check out the full list of nominees at NAACPImageAwards.net. So I really encourage you to go support your favorite artists. Again, you really, your views matter. And not just on social media. When you tune in to watch an award show, if you're commenting on any video or in any post, you are contributing to, again, the algorithm. And you're contributing to the truth that you believe is truth, right? And you're entitled, again, to your opinion. So don't stay away. Don't shy away when you have something to say. Because in the discussion, we might come closer to the truth. We'll never find what it is, right? But we come closer. Because in discussion, we can progress together. All right. So do I have everything? Yes, I think I discussed everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week. And let me know if you like this new approach and how you thought about it. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Again, happy St. Patrick's Day and see you next week.